There was nothing on the market good enough, punchy enough to get my consultants billing quickly in tough markets. Nothing that engaged my consultants, keeping them hungry for deals. Nothing that kept them sharp. See, no one was as good at training my people as I was. But this took a lot of my time. What was available for my senior consultants? How could I maximize their revenue? There was nothing on the market that truly made my people feel invested in, that I would be comfortable putting them in front of. So we made it. Find out why people are joining the RecWire Plus recruitment platform. Link in the show notes. Back to the show.
Welcome to the Recruiter Startup Podcast. I'm joined by Rich Gibbard from Recbound. What's happening, lad?
Hello, how are you? Top of the morning to ye. Do you even say that, or is that just me?
Is that the top of the morning to ye? I think it's like some bastardized American advert for Cocoa Pops or something, or Lucky Charms, right?
Please tell me that you eat Lucky Charms. I assume that you're there in Gibraltar with
the real steak and eggs, baby. look like this in your 40s otherwise.
Do you not treat yourself to some Lucky Charms every now and again?
No
milk, but Guinness instead of milk.
Pints of Guinness. I like a pint of Guinness, you know.
There you go.
Yeah, love a pint of Guinness. In fact, I'm wearing a couple of beers from last night. Just secured a new townhouse in La Alcadesa, which is close to Gibraltar. You're not a golfer, are you? I'm not a golfer.
No, but it sounds nice.
Yeah, it's there's the Hacienda Golf Club, not the nightclub that you would have heard about in Manchester. So it's all good. What is happening? 2024 was a shit show. Can we agree on that?
What's worse than a shit show is that, like, generally you go to like the ranks of people, and you've got like Pol Pot, Hitler. Recruiters are in amongst that pot as well. I would say, 2024 was absolutely a pile of shite.
I'm still suffering some of it. So, like, I looked at her fucking desk, and there's still fallovers because clients actually don't have cash reserves. So that's happened for smaller startup ones recently. But outside of that, the last 2 weeks have just been like everybody's hiring. And good people are looking again, which just feels like, despite whatever's happening, people are like, Trump's back in. Let's buy shit. Let's make things happen. Let's go. So I don't know. I'm optimistic. I don't think it's a false dawn. I think we're back, but who knows what it's going to be. Like, I've never seen 2 weeks of jobs coming in.
It won't be like what it was in 2022 continuously for months on end. I think that there will be peaks and troughs this year as well. And like even last year, I think any government-backed industry or any industry that's getting thrown, like renewable energy, for example, last year was still quite a good sector for many, for those operating in and around it. This year and the year afterwards is very likely to be positive for any financial related industry, ranging from crypto, blockchain, all the way to your standard financial related investment type. Just because,
so fintech specifically,
anything and everything to do with finance, whether it's your classic investors and buy side, or those kind of people, all the way to financial related technology, when that includes software that is for finance or investment platforms, blockchain, you name it. I think because like you said with Trump, is because a lot of his rhetoric is around growth and stability for growth and
deregulation.
Absolutely. And so there you go. They are very likely to be incredibly prosperous markets, in the same way that things like renewable has been for a few years before that. In the same way that even you can go back in time and you can see these chunks of where the government is throwing money. There was this is mid-January. There's an article a few days ago about throwing this in, certainly in the UK, throwing money behind AI powered solutions. You can see where the money is going to go over the next few years, and so that's very likely where the recruitment markets can prosper in the next few years.
Here's hoping. I think also construction, especially across the States, is going to go bonkers. There's going to be a lot of projects. LA has to be rebuilt now. You seen that madness?
Very much so. Did you also see the article about the rent prices are going up across the rest of LA and profiteering from that? I mean, it is what it is. There's chances everywhere, but like you say, construction. I don't know. There's still, what was that business that went under 12 months or so ago? In construction. Oh, a big one that it's an acronym, like initials of something, but there's still a bit of a fallout here in the UK for construction. There is, but if you're good and you got those niche networks, you'll be absolutely fine.
Talk to me about Manchester. What's the recruitment community there like now? Traditionally, there's a big oil and gas sector. Then there's a lot of tech recruitment companies. What's it looking like now? Is there many startups in the last few years? Is like, what would you say? How would you describe that ecosystem when you look at people that you've met or doing business with there?
Yeah, I still think it's very tech heavy. I think, but when you're in tech, the tech, what has gone from, oh, we place tech, or we've just placed software engineers, has gone to, oh, we just placed Python, or they've branched out into like data science, or they've branched out into various niches. And so there are lots of niche, super niche agencies, either one-man bands or up to 5 people really in Manchester. But it's here is very much tech. And it's still very much those that were focused perhaps on oil and gas have moved on to just any energy in general, with the renewables being part of that. And renewables in itself is huge, but Manchester's still very much full of exciting, up and coming recruitment agencies with a lot to prove and a lot of desire to grow. Really is.
And what are you seeing? Like, is it like, do the German market, do the US market, like are people getting focused more locally, or what are you saying?
I think it depends on the owners and the team, to be fair. I think those who drift towards Germany is because they want stability. In Germany, that's right. When somebody says that they're going to join, they're going to join, but then you have to deal with the lengthy notice periods and stuff like that. Those going to the US is probably a bit more lucrative. In fact, it has definitely been more lucrative, but it's a lot harder. There's a lot more competition in the US than people think. It's not as if they're just waiting to have calls with recruiters. It's very much still competitive, but in order for both of them, a lot of people have diversified out of just the UK, because the UK has been quite tough, especially in any tech related industry, whether it's sales for tech, developers, engineers, projects, you name it, tech's not been pretty.
I think you're responsible for most of the spam the industry has created over the last 5 years.
Thank you.
If you've been spammed by a recruiter, it's probably Rich Gibbard's fault.
Well, if they just answered, then they wouldn't get spammed.
Because whenever I think of your services, that was the one that, like, you really jumped into that automation piece years ago and nailed that. And then everybody kind of got fed up with being automated to, and the market's kind of changed. Now, what does it look? Give us a recap on what your business does, what it doesn't do.
Yeah, all marketing for a recruiter, and that can range from the strategies and ideas to anything social media related, to creating content, to automation, and everywhere in between. A lot of our business is creating content and creating posts for recruiters, which does include not ChatGPTing things, which is a big challenge. But I think from our side, because there's so many things in marketing that people can do nowadays, we are just there to support on all departments, and whether it's making things look good, creating very relevant pieces of content and getting it out there across all channels, that's where we help and support. Just going back to your point on automation, I think, we've seen that pendulum go. It certainly COVID.
Yeah, right.
It allowed people to send more thousands of emails, but now people can send thousands of emails. Emails just dead. Emails are dead, and so it's how do you get hold of people? that isn't just flinging an email out, really. So
So how do you?
at the minute, if people aren't, well, you've got to obviously connect through LinkedIn. You've got to
Yeah.
use different forms of connections. I just put out a post this morning actually about, are people trying to engage with them on X? Are people actually giving them a call? Are people engaging them with at events, going to different webinar, attending webinars, setting up breakfast meetings, things like that? It's, you know, I think though, if we believe that we can just sit in our bedroom and bill 500K from our desk, um, it's very tough nowadays to do that just with automation systems. So there has to be a lot more human interaction,
Mm.
a conduits of information, and just be seen as, I suppose, pillars within your niche, like yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely trickier to do that. But that happens in a super hot market where people will just buy anything. And if you have a product and they need it, and product being the person, and that person has a skill that can do that, and that thing's going to make loads of money, they'll buy it. But if there isn't loads of money in the market and that job may or may not exist, it just gets more and more competitive. We're seeing it. We saw it last year. Just had loads of any type of recruiter that came on the market. People are like super fussy and all the rest. And now the emails are
Yeah.
coming in. Is that
Okay,
person still available? Is that person still available? I think we could probably take a shot at them now.
that's interesting. Do you think that there's going to be a big push for those who can do business development? Are you seeing that any trend in the whole 360 dual desk BD delivery only piece?
That's interesting. I always think that depends on the type of business you are, really. Like, somebody was asking me about this the other day. Like, so if you're if you're contract, right? If you look at any of the billings from contract recruiters, they might tell you they do BD, but really they only have two or three accounts and they just hammer those accounts and they do it. But there's not much business development there on that. Like, it is being quick from the 10, 20 people that you foster those relationships with. So it's different than a niche 360 perm recruitment firm. Um, so I don't know. It just depends. I mean, I, right now, because we had we'll just hire 1,000 delivery people and then we'll sack them all. What's what happened in COVID. Um, I think on the next uplift in growth, we'll probably see it being a bit tighter in terms of you're going to have to have more of those commercial skills. That said, if we get into another boom market and somebody wins a major account, they need 5 delivery people, they're just going to do it and then take the risk that if that closes down, they'll sack them.
Yeah,
That's
we are. One thing I should have said before is we are seeing that there's a lot of business wants to grow their contract book over and above perm. I think that people have battled and tried so hard to increase perm revenues in the last 18 months, 2 years or so. Very tough. Whereas changes in labour, or what labour is proposing with the whole worker rights from day one, contract is very much going to be the way forward, certainly with the whole try before you buy, before you employ them thing. So lots of businesses want to grow their contract book. It's going to be tough in some markets, but I think, yeah, that's certainly a
I had a
trend.
post on LinkedIn said you don't need a contract book to sell your recruitment business, and got a lot of abuse from people trying to sell contracting services, including Andy Hallett. And yeah, cool, right, whatever. But I said that because I had Logan Naidu from Dartmouth Partners, or Colonel, what's the group company, and we were discussing PE and recruitment last week.
Okay.
And yeah, it's going to come out next week. And he just went to the Faden multiple and the Frank multiple and all of that there, all those perm businesses that went for unbelievable amounts. And his own business, he was like, it's not about having a contract book. I mean, great if you can do it, but and it got me thinking that some people have great perm businesses and then they almost they almost wreck it by trying to set up a contract business on the side and spend so much money, and then they don't get that right, as opposed to focusing in on the thing that they're really good at.
Yeah, and a lot of people bringing in this like RAS or TAS models, or trying to RPO their perm services as well. And not that I'm aware of, but it's an incredibly it's a very tough model to start charging, let's say, 10 grand fees, and then go, all right, well, let's just do this. But instead of 10 grand fees, we're going to make them 9 grand fees, but you can still, we're exclusive to you. People don't want that because then people are just going to, they're going to use that money, just hire an internal recruiter. And so it's very hard to subscribe to perm recruitment unless it is incredibly cost-effective RPO model. And people can avoid saying RPO and call it TAS, RAS, whatever they want to call it.
That's an RPO.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, yeah. Well, I think where that model does work is when you see them almost subcontract in the body
Yeah,
on site a certain amount of days, so they do get sticky in there. But if
yeah.
it's a remote solution, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, Mike Ames interviewed him recently, actually, and he suggested that this is going to be the future, like micro RPOs everywhere, and that's where he would be focusing. I don't know. I don't know. I,
Up
I'm
to
not sure I
manage.
agree,
Yeah,
but you know,
up to see.
he knows more than I'll probably ever do. So maybe he's right. I'll still argue with him though, right?
Well, yeah, why not? It's good. It's good for content and clickbait, if anything.
um, so, what is the big push now from marketing? You know, like I'm still a believer in that podcast work, in that uh, having that whole system in place to invite your target on to be part of that, and maybe build a community off the back of that, like we did with Required. Um, um, and figuring out how to be embed yourself as somebody who can help your clients from a profile perspective or for whatever that looks like. What type of like what's your kind of belief system in what recruitment firms should do and should not?
They should. It is all about community still. It is very much about communities. Where you run that community, though, is up to you. So podcast is a great way, and certainly with Required and the virtual WhatsApp community is brilliant. I think depending on the markets you focus, it doesn't have to be a WhatsApp group. You can run that locally. You can have regular meetups locally. You can have it just where it's just an exclusive sort of 10 people meeting up each month or each quarter, running events. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but it is very much how can I build up a community of key people of where I am essentially passing on information, you getting the information and passing it on, because the recruiters will never be as skilled as the people that they are in the industry with. They're just not. However, that they should be better at is networking and connecting. And so if you can connect people through information, however that information gets transferred across, then that's the way forward. It really, really is.
Give us some sexy tips for LinkedIn. What can we do? What should
Oh,
we be doing?
sexy tips. Well, you need to change what you're wearing for one. I think that blue doesn't, I think it could be a bit.
You mean have to get naked again?
There's always the option. No, again, it just depends on how you want to come across and be perceived. It's from my side. I used to, and I still do occasionally put out some humor and humorous posts, but it's very hard to charge big retainers when all you're doing is mocking the industry or taking the piss. And so it's a lot of LinkedIn is about perception, how you want to come across. If you want likes, just get your fucking dog or kids on there. Crying out loud. That's all if that's all you want to do, just do that and just complain about like how other people are destroying the world and it's all Donald Trump's fault. Otherwise, just offer value. Just continually and consistently offer value. The more that you can connect and the more that you can tag people in and show how well connected you are within the industry, the better thing to do. And if you're conscious or worried and saying, oh, but what happens if one of my competitors see that I'm speaking to Dualta? They are absolutely all over your clients already. So you're not hiding anything by being tagging with them because they already know. We all know who your clients are. It's pretty
Yeah.
obvious who you're trying to go at. So you're not exclusive. Nobody's exclusive in this market unless you've got a written contract. So yeah.
Yeah. And what about like how you approach your day? Is there any KPIs that you can do for yourself? Like how many How many things should you like? How many things should you comment on? Any type of best practice that people can do? Or?
Yeah, LinkedIn, you need to spend. I would suggest that what companies should be doing is picking out and choosing who their target clients are, either each month or each quarter, and just coming up with a plan on how can I engage with that person over the next 3 months. And so you don't need to just like everything that is on your feed. If you've got, say, 20 target clients, of which each of those have got 5 to 10 decision makers, you should be spending time going through their 5 to 10 different feeds each day and trying to comment, engage, share, add value, and so on with that. So just hover around those who you want to work with, candidates or clients, and just spend 15 minutes, half an hour a day, and go from there.
How much do you hate email?
I hate what Microsoft and Google have done to it. Even Apple, I don't like with the new Apple updates. It's like getting them on your phone they really are making it very difficult for people to land in emails into people's inboxes. I still see a lot of value in email. I still see a lot of value in email. I really, really do. But what I see now is just 10 words max. Also, I've got this guy. Do you want to meet them? Or yeah, this person's billed 250K, done this. Do you have space in your team? There's no point in saying things like, "Hi guys, how are you? How's your day? Oh, this is great. It's so sunny outside, isn't it? Anyway, let me tell you about my person." Because people just switch up. They're gone already. They've gone. Just be rude and to the point. And then be nice when they actually engage with you.
I barely read my emails. I mean, I'm like just send me a message on LinkedIn or send me a WhatsApp, and then I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I'll fucking it just gets like, and it's all your fault. You got everybody doing automation. Like I'm always going back to this. My inbox is destroyed because of all the stuff you taught recruiters in COVID.
Misuse, absolutely misuse and abuse. That's what it's been. There you go.
Give us some tips on different technologies that you're using out there, or you're encouraging recruiters to use now. Was it Lemlist or something like that you used to
It
do a bit
was.
with?
Yeah, and it's still we still use that. It's because what they do now is they've integrated LinkedIn to that. So what a lot of companies are doing have got Source Whale and Dripify. Not to
So
badmouth
we have.
Source Whale is like Source Whale is a very good tool. Dripify is a very good tool, but they both run like two separate campaigns.
Mm.
Whereas a tool like Lemlist, there's another one called Ring Over, something like that. Where you can combine, where it doesn't just prompt you to do it, it actually does it. And so I could, in theory, message you over email. You would obviously ignore that because you just told me that. And then it will automatically send a LinkedIn connection request or follow-up message there, all in one campaign. So yeah, I would say the tools that people should use are ones that require less system hopping, less APIs, let's go back and forth with loads of different things. And it all gets built around your tech stack, as in what's your database. So if you're on Bullhorn, you may as well start off with Automate. If you're on Vincere, start off with that Roy AI. If you're on JobAdder, I forgot what the one, not JobAdder is that Roy AI, Vincere is Elay. And you may as well start with the tools that are pre-built into your databases and then work out from there rather than building it on an add-on.
And what if you could set up a recruitment company tomorrow? What would you do?
I would go to the most lucrative market that I could.
What's that?
Leadership positions, no
Okay.
matter what sector, so VP level and above, where salaries are 100K and above.
Yeah. What location?
And that's in UK, but I would go straight to the US, I think.
So you go to the UK. You go US leadership. Where in the US?
It doesn't matter. The entirety of the US.
Okay. Right.
And I would focus if you said, right, you've only got to do it for the next 5 years,
Yeah.
something finance related, or fintech, something along those lines. If it's not those kind of industry, because that's my background in terms of perm placements. If you're contract led, then just go high level contract.
Yeah.
possibly even interim, but high value niche networks. And we do placement reports for lots of different recruitment companies.
Sure.
And we look at the ROI of where they're spending money on and where they're getting the placements from. Everybody turns around and goes, geez, we're spending so much money on LinkedIn. And then you look at where their placements come from, and it's all LinkedIn. And you go, well, that's it. That's where you're getting your money from. And so what I need, LinkedIn license, go from there
How can we win our first client?
with a good candidate.
Okay.
Good candidates get you in the door. If you've not got a good candidate, then you just need to basically,
Invent one. Say it.
yeah,
Say it. Say it.
make up a good candidate. So
You're a bad person. I knew you were going to say
or
that.
no, you just lean on who you know. It's very
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
if you're going into a completely cold market with no knowledge of it. Then I think you're incredibly brave. You need to get that knowledge and get that knowledge either from working within the industry or within a recruiter who recruits for that industry and get proper training. It's too easy for people to set up recruitment agencies, I think. That's my
Yeah, I
opinion.
suppose the hardest bit is knowing what quality is within anything. Knowing like, okay, now I've got the thing that everybody wants, and
Yeah.
and you could blow it by sending something crap.
But
That
no, yeah, just knowing what a good candidate looks like in that sector, or knowing what it looks like a good job, and it's very hard sometimes. Companies will turn around and say, "Oh, my vacancy is the best vacancy. Everybody should want to come and work here." And you look at the company and you go, "Well, your business it's not as appealing as you'd like to make it out to be." So yeah,
and
early
what about
strikes.
like how important is a website?
It's important to have one.
Yeah,
It's not important to continually spend millions or thousands on it each week. I think website is there for um, uh, confirmation of what you do,
yeah, and
really.
to show your mum, hey, mum, I got a job.
And my mom turns 70 in three
Yeah,
days, actually. So
yeah. She'd be like, but Rich, you're still on my couch.
yeah. So I guess treat her to her 70th by me turning
Yeah,
up, and she can do my
We
dinners.
we tripped down to Weatherspoons.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So,
But no, websites are important to have one, but that you would again you might see them from the LinkedIn news articles or the way that those newsletters type work is that the engagement you can post the exact same thing on LinkedIn and you'll get thousands of views. You post the same thing on your blog, it very rarely gets any views. But I'm not saying that that's not worth it because from an SEO point of view, you still need it on your website as well. So I don't throw everything at LinkedIn because people don't want to be on LinkedIn. There's lots of business aside from recruiters. Nobody wants to be on LinkedIn, so you have to make sure that it's on other platforms where people will go. And that
so
so
we get that great candidate, um, and what we then build out a bit of a target list and refine that down, and then do you encourage automating that out across a multi-channel from there, or is there anything else?
I think if there's thousands of people that would be interested in that candidate, then yeah, then you have to automate it or automate a lot of it just because the sheer volume. If there's only 50 companies that would be interested in that candidate and it's a high value candidate, then no, I think tailor each approach, making sure that you've got a good playbook in terms of follow-ups. You can automate the part of the follow-ups if you wanted to, but you yeah, ultimately it's try and tailor your outreach so that you've got more chance of getting on. And if it does go to 50 people, certainly when we first started getting into automation 5-6 years ago, volume was key because volume was allowed. Now, 5 years on, volume isn't allowed. And so tailoring is the way forward.
Interesting. And then when you get a bite, I'm always interested at this bit, and they say, "Yeah, show us the candidate," and you say, "Here's my terms. Give us a meeting," and then they go, "Don't have time for a meeting. What do you do next?"
Send the candidate. Just as long as you've got a candidate approval,
Yeah.
um, you because you bear in mind that there are tens of other businesses doing the same thing to the same person, is that if that candidate is happy with you sending it over, send the candidate.
But what if they haven't signed the terms?
Well, you would go with the term. It would go with the terms, essentially. You don't necessarily have to sign the terms, and this is where you need to work with a proper solicitor to be
Yeah.
clear.
You do in America, they can rip you off. If you send with terms, they they could choose to screw you. You can always get somebody like Barry to shake them down, though. You know.
So, Barry's a lovely man. You want Barry on your side, but again, this is if you want to tell people, you know, I'll use a different analogy. I've got this amazing song. This is going to be like a number one. This song is amazing. As soon as you hear it, you're going to fall in love with it. You're going to listen to it 10 times today. And you're like, okay, play the song then. And you go, can we have a meeting about that song first? And you're like, no, I just play your fucking song. And so I do think that we have, if companies want to screw you over, fine. But you are in that's the risk versus reward, is that if a company does want to screw you over, then they will screw you over. If you want to not be screwed over, then don't send your candidate. But at the same time, is that then that company will just become feeding ground for good people. And generally, you want recruiters on your side, not to screw over every recruiter possible by taking on a free candidate, because all recruiters are going to do is just going to continually pick out the best people from your team. So I would be open, honest, and transparent, because one of the big things that businesses have issues with recruiters is lack of trust, lack of transparency. And by saying, look, here's what I've got, here's my terms, you know, you could even offer some sort of introductory deal, whatever it may be. This is what I've got. This is who I'd like you to meet, and go from there. And then you've got a foot in the door. But if you just pull the wool over their eyes or start, oh no, I've been told that I need to have a conversation with you straight away, then you're building it off very rocky foundations.
I know when I think of you, I'm thinking of like the recruiter's marketer, in that you kind of know your business of running a recruitment firm from like being a recruiter, and then you went into marketing. Where does that service start and stop with what you offer recruiters, especially those who are early stage? Do you jump in and do a bit of sales enablement across all the stuff that you do? Or are you strictly just doing posts for them? Are you doing a little bit of advisory here and there? Because I know it's all kind of within your wheelhouse.
Yeah. So in the last 24 hours, what I've done from top to bottom is I've advised multinational agencies with 50 plus consultants on marketing and the content that they need to make. I've then spent time over teams advising and sorting on ROI and getting more ROI, and again, content that needs to make with marketers. We've all the way down to we've done new logos and new banners and new designs, and sales docs, pitch decks, case studies, to one of them, Carolina, who heads up our social media, she's going away on holiday. So the amount of posts that we've been making social media is unbelievable. All the way down to getting some guys and girls from Bangladesh to go and find thousands of CEOs, founders, heads of, and finding data lists and everywhere, and setting up campaigns, using automation to set up campaigns. And so right from advisory all the way down to action, we've done so much. The first few weeks of January has been, I don't think this is the first time I've sat down, and yet I still talk about recruitment. So
awesome. Tell me, how can people find you? How can they engage with you? How can they pay you lots of money to make them even more money?
This is the good thing. Is you can either find me on LinkedIn. I'm always hanging around on LinkedIn. Or just email rich@recbound.com.
Awesome.
Yeah. You won't find me at the gym. I've kind of stopped going to the gym. It's not even a New Year thing. So don't go to the gym to find me.
Do you need to start the gym?
I think I just need to, just get back into the habit of doing some exercise. Eating's fine. It's just lack of movement.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has been the thing that's kind of kept me going. Although I'm saying that my left eye's starting to ache right now, and there's a twinge in my neck. I know that my rib cage is bruised, and but yeah, I'm having a wonderful time at it.
Because now that you've hit 40, it's
41. Oh,
yeah, as soon as you went into your fifth decade, that's it. Everything just started creaking, snapping.
yeah, I know. But the the rediscovering good food and wine in the newly divorced era is a wonderful experience as well. So it's yeah, it's just getting the balance right. I could just do with a good year, Rich. I want 2025 I want deals to come in. I want that like worrying about like payroll to go away, and I just want to be back in there having a good time, making some money, thinking about setting up new things, and just I don't know, get back to the good times, right?
Do you think so? I do think one thing that because 2022 allowed a lot of people to have that opportunity because there was cash flowing around, that opportunity to look at different things.
Yeah.
I feel like now I shan't be looking at many other things. I'm staying in my swim lane and I'm just cracking on. I've got Labour. Every time Labour come in, they inevitably do very well for 6 to 7 years and then crash any economy in the remaining 1 or 2 years. Trump's coming in, and we all know, like we said at the top of the call, it's very much economy and growth focus. I get the feeling that the next 5 to 7 years should be quite lucrative, no matter what industries, and
Yeah.
there will inevitably be some sort of crash. There always is. So if we can all make and hold on to a bit of money in the next 5 years, happy days.
I know, I know. The green-eyed monster in me does probably think, I could probably jump in and do another niche and like head up a renewable or an executive type recruitment thing. And then the other part of me says, can you just focus in on the three businesses that you're running? You have a Rectorec, you have a big community, and you have an L&D platform, and you just need to like focus in on getting more recurring revenue into the business, and then do the one-off stuff on the Rectorec. You've managed to keep your team. Just don't lose your focus now and try and do something mental. Like go make that money within your lane, and maybe I need a coach. Maybe I just need somebody just to scream at me.
I heard you can hire the services of Andy Hallett. He would be a very good coach.
Hey, God bless him. He's kept Recwired absolutely humming over this difficult period. So uh, I don't need him in a boardroom. I just need him to keep on doing what he's doing. So, but that's us today, Rich.
Very
Thank you
good.
so much. Good lad, and we will catch up soon.
Good man. Thank you.